Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to the Reptile Barn. I am on my way to FedEx. Sorry today's video is so late. I just was thinking about, prepping for cold weather. Most of you guys know I'm in Alaska. Winter hits here a little earlier than most states. Probably than all states, to be honest. Now I'm in Anchorage, so it's not a super rough winter. I still ship year-round, but shipping changes in the wintertime, okay? And actually, other than obviously a really severe cold snap where I just won't ship till that's over, I don't mind shipping in the winter because I've gotten comfortable with how much heat I need to add to my boxes, depending on the temperature, right? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about when you're straddling two different temperature thresholds, from your destination to wherever your takeoff point is. And even you got to take into consideration the weather at the big hubs, either Memphis or Indianapolis too. So I'm almost always colder than my destination. And honestly, I find that easier to deal with than if I was in, for example, Arizona, southern Texas, somewhere where it's kind of just hot all year round, where you're usually going to be hotter than your destination. You can still work with that, but I'm on the cold end of things. So, and both places that I'm shipping to right now, their weather is delightful. Highs in the high 60s, low 70s. So I can't just pump my box full of heat, and it's not that cold here yet either, but it's in like the 50s. And so I need a little bit of heat on my end, especially because I'm shipping out, sailfin dragons. They cannot get cold. The ball pythons, a lot of colubrids, especially amphibians, certainly can handle a decent amount of cool temperature in their shipment. The sailfin dragons, not so much. So, what can I do about this? Well, first off, it seems to have gotten stuck in a lot of people's heads that the only way to ship, if you need to add heat, is to add a 40-hour heat pack and insulate your box. Well, guess what? I never use 40-hour heat packs. Ever. Because either I know I'm going to need heat the entire time, and I use a 72-hour heat pack. They don't get quite as hot as a 40-hour, but if there is a delay, even theoretically if they're delayed twice, I would still have heat the entire time. Whereas a 40-hour, I start to get real nervous if there's a delay. So first off, I always use 72-hour heat packs if I know I need heat the entire time. Second off, you can use 20-hour heat packs that you start like the night before. If, for example, you're in Alaska and you're shipping somewhere cold, or I'm sorry, you're shipping somewhere warmer, so you don't really want to have a bunch of heat in the box extra once it reaches that hot destination, but I need some for a little boost until it leaves the state of Alaska, right? So then I would time my heat pack, my 20-hour heat pack, such that it's going to be running out of heat by the time it's, out of Alaskan airspace, basically. Because then it's down in Memphis or Indy or wherever, and it's warm down there, and the destination is warm, and then I'm good to go. Another thing you can do, use cryo packs, okay? Those are the phase-changing, what do they call them? Phase 22 packs? I don't remember what they're called, but cryo packs, okay? The substance inside of the cryo packs changes state, liquid to solid, solid to liquid, around 70 degrees, which happens to be perfect for our reptile shipping needs, right? Because if you put one of these cryo packs in there and it's frozen, it doesn't have to be below 32 degrees like a traditional ice pack. It just has to be below 70. So if you're like, oh, I need it a little bit cooler, but not frozen, well, just cool one of these bad boys down to, 40 or 50 or even 60 degrees, it's going to be frozen solid. And if the box starts to get too hot, it is going to require energy, heat in this case, to change that cryopack back to a liquid state, right? So this is very, very useful. You're able to add gentle, minor temperature differences rather than just a straight up heat pack or an ice pack, right? And you can do the opposite. Say you're like, man, it's hovering in the 60s. I'd like to add a little heat, but I'm a little bit nervous because maybe Memphis is super hot. So I really would like to add some heat because it's cooler here. It's even cooler at my destination, but I don't want it to overheat in Memphis. Well, you can heat one of these cryo packs up to 80 or 85 degrees, which is perfectly reasonable temperature for any reptile. And it's going to be fully liquid, right? And you're not adding a 120 degree heat pack or whatever it's going to burn at. You're just adding a little bit of gentle heat. And if it starts to get too cold in the box, that heat, and it's not a heat pack, that cryo pack is going to give off heat as it's phase changing back to a solid state, right? So it can help regulate the temperature of your box right around 70 degrees, which is just, I mean, it's superb. It's like magic, right? There's other things you can do. You could do, say you're in a hot place shipping somewhere cold, right? Well, add a couple of cryo packs that are at 50 or 60 degrees. And when you make your shipment, it's 95 degrees where you are. It's going to heat up those cryo packs, and they are going to turn liquid, right? As they pass 70 degrees. And that's perfectly fine. They will help keep it cooler while it's in your hot area, but then they're liquid, right? And by the time they get to the cold place, then they're helping keep it warmer. It's really magical, right? And tell your customers, by the way, if you ever use those, because you can reuse them over and over and over again. It just freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, right? So let them know that if they are someone who ever ships reptiles, they can use that, right? Anyways, I have arrived. I'm shipping off a snake. I'm shipping off a couple of sailfins. I just wanted to go over this because it's starting to cool down here in Alaska and in other places in the country. It's going to start to cool down, and shipping practices must change to match the seasons, right? So I hope that was informational. If you have any questions about this, I have, fortunately or unfortunately, gotten very experienced shipping in cold weather, living where I live. I am happy to walk people through this. I have done it many times. I've helped other people with their shipments from cold places, so I'm happy to help. I want your reptiles to stay safe, right? And that is all. Again, people are amazed that I can ship year round, with, small exceptions. If I'm like, oh, this week is just bitter cold, bad cold snap, I'm not going to ship, right? Same thing if you live in Phoenix and you're like, it's 115 degrees all month. Well, I'm not going to ship my reptiles out. You're going to have to wait. And that's perfectly fine. Most people are very understanding of that. And the ones who aren't understanding of that, I'm like, oh, just ship it anyway. Well, guess what? You're no longer my customer, because clearly you don't care about the safety of this animal. You're so impatient that you're willing to put it at risk. Not going to sell to you, right? So anyways, that is all. Hope you found this informational. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, we are the Reptile Barn.